What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So I wanted to talk about this. As we know, everybody's anticipating to see when we're going to get an announcement and if we're going to get the fight between two undefeated pound-for-pound top 5 fighters, the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, the undisputed welterweight showdown between undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO, World Boxing Organization welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Terence Crawford, who has 38 wins, no losses, no draw, 29 big wins by way of knockout. He is 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach, an undefeated unified 3-belt WBC, WBA, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely considered to be top 2, if not #1 in some people's eyes, definitely top 5 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and ERROL the Truth Spence Jr., who has 28 wins, no losses, no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout. 32 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach, okay? With that said, they make for the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. It's for all the marbles for undisputed at welterweight, and this is the fight that's anticipated. Everybody wants to see it, okay? And there's tons of rumors and reports that swirls around. But what I wanted to talk about in this particular video is the fact that we got reports that the fight it's looking bleak, right? It's looking like it's not going to happen. And it's looking like, it could be, pushed off to possibly next year, right? To 2023, okay? Terence Crawford, he told me, as many people know, that he is the only person looking to make this fight happen. The powers that be are not looking to make this fight happen, okay? They're just not looking to make it happen. They're not putting their best foot forward to make this fight happen. This is what Terence Crawford told me. Then we got the reports yesterday that said it's looking very, very gray that we're going to get this fight come to fruition, right? And then we had Team Crawford come out and says that now everybody can finally see that, they don't want to make this fight happen, right? The powers that be. Well, obviously, there's tons and tons of different reports. There was reports that there's a network battle going on between Showtime President of Sports Stephen Espinoza, and Fox Sports. We know the PBC, Premier Boxing Champion, founder and advisor Al Heyman. He showcases his fights, his fighters on Fox and on Showtime, right? And so with that said, okay, Stephen Espinoza, he comes out and he says that they're still doing their homework, they're still doing their, due diligence to try to get this fight over the hump, and that, essentially telling the fans to be patient. Well, it's not the fans that need to be patient. Stephen Espinoza, you got to look at Terence Crawford is no longer patient. So to say that they're still doing everything they can to make the fight happen, it's already October 1st. It's October 1st. Right? So how much more patience and how much more negotiating needs to be done? Right? How much more? I mean, you think about this. Errol Spence fought, okay? Errol Spence fought April 16th, okay? Arlington, Texas, AT&T Dallas Cowboys Stadium, right? Unification bout against former WBA welterweight world champion Cuban star boxer Yadena Sugas, right? That's 6 months ago. Errol Spence fought 6 months ago. 6 months ago, Errol Spence fought. And you still are negotiating the fight? And you have to take into consideration, Errol Spence stated, now keep this in mind. Errol Spence stated that they started to prepare and negotiate a fight between himself and Terence Crawford, okay, before he even fought Yordenis Ugas. That's what Errol Spence said. He said we was already planning this fight with Terence Crawford before we even fought Yordenis Ugas. So he fought Ugas in April. So if they was already planning this, that means they was at least planning in the beginning. He fought middle April, April 16th, right? So if they was already planning it, you're talking about the beginning of April or maybe even earlier. So how much more negotiating do you have to do? How much more planning has to be done? How much more? Negotiating and planning, and how are you still working hard to get, I mean, it just shouldn't be this hard. So it's either Stephen Espinoza is not telling the truth or Terence Crawford is not telling the truth. Somebody ain't telling the truth right now. Because Terence Crawford, he stated that he's agreed to take a 65-35 split in favor of Errol Spence Jr. Okay? He did that. He's willing to take a no guarantee money, no upfront money. He's banking on himself. So if he accepted and agreed to accept all these things, and yet nobody has come out and disputed what Terence Crawford has said, nobody came out. Now, Errol Spence did say Terence Crawford didn't sign anything. Terence Crawford didn't say he signed everything. He said he agreed to everything. Now, what things are there not in the contract that Terence Crawford needs to be agreed upon before he signs? We still need to find that out, right? But if he agreed to everything, Terence Crawford, what more, how hard is it to still be negotiating? What more are you negotiating? And if Stephen Espinoza is saying, well, we still doing our homework and we still working and we still trying to bring it to fruition, and then he's going on to say, you know, he wish he had more information. No, Stephen, you had more information. What do you mean you wish you had more information? You have more information. You have more information. You have all the information. You're sitting in negotiations. So he's saying that he wish he had more information to give to the fans. Well, you do have more information. Give the fans what's going on. You have more information. Give the fans the information that you have. Update the fans. There's minor details. What is it? Stephen Espinoza has been telling us that they've been working hard and negotiating this for quite some time now. Since April. So, quote, this is what Stephen Espinoza had to say. Negotiations are ongoing, and we're still working hard to make the fight. You're still working hard. How hard do you have to work to make the fight happen? At this stage now. I mean, it should be plain and simple. What's wanted and what's not being met at this point in time. It's 6 months later. He said, sorry, I don't have more to offer. But publicly, airing the negotiations will only make it more difficult to make a deal. Oh, and don't believe everything you hear. So now you're saying Terence Crawford is lying. Because what we hear is Terence Crawford saying that y'all not trying to make the fight. And then he says to publicly air out what's going on in negotiations, it makes it harder. How much harder is it making when Terence Crawford himself is coming out and saying, y'all don't want to make the fight? How hard is it? If you tell the fans what's going on, how is that going to make it hard to make the fight happen? Terence Crawford is asking for something. Errol Spence is asking for something. That's it. This is what Terence Crawford is asking for. This is what Errol Spence is asking for. It don't make it harder if the public knew what Terence Crawford want and what Errol Spence want. How does it make it harder? When you have a divorce, right? Or separation, or anything of that nature, right? You can make it as public as you want to. It ain't gonna make it harder. Somebody want the house, somebody want the dog, somebody want the cars. It ain't gonna make it harder. If everybody's staying true to what they want, unless they let somebody else get in their ear and say, hey man, you should push for the house or you should push for the car. How's it making it harder? I'm confused. So if you told the public, and not that I'm not saying that they should, but if the public was made aware that what was going on, right? Then if the public was made aware what was going on, then that's going to make it harder. Don't believe everything you hear. Okay, well, Terence Crawford, so we're not supposed to believe the horse? He's the actual fighter. So we're not supposed to believe Terence Crawford. That's essentially saying Terence Crawford and his team is lying. Don't believe everything you hear. No, what we hear is that Terence Crawford is saying y'all don't want to make the fight, and then we heard that it was reported that, you know, it's getting it's a gray area in this and looking doubtful that it's going to happen. So what are we not to believe? Because that sounds about right. That Terence Crawford is saying that y'all don't want to make the fight, and then we hearing that the fight is in doubt, and then you saying don't believe everything you hear. I'm confused. It's just not this hard to make this fight happen. Plain and simple. It's just not. It's just not this difficult to get this fight to come to fruition. I find it very hard to believe that everybody's being this difficult in negotiations, so much so that it takes a year to negotiate a fight. I'm hard pressed to believe that. It's already 6 months since Errol Spence fought, and if Errol Spence said that they was already negotiating before and talking about this before he even fought Ugas, then how is it taking this much time to negotiate a fight? And how come every month or every 3 weeks Stephen Espinoza is saying we're working hard? How hard do you have to work? It's only two people involved. It's Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. You giving them what they want or you're not. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Why is all these other entities coming into play? Was it this hard to negotiate Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas? There was a unification bout. It was in-house, right? And you think about this. It was in-house, right? But Terence Crawford don't have a network. He don't have a obligation to anybody. So how hard is it to get this fight to come to fruition then? Because essentially it's just pretty much in-house. If you look at to make Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence fight, it should just be able to be made. Was it this hard to negotiate a fight with Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence? How hard is it? Or is it that Terence Crawford's being offered something that's not reasonable, and then he don't want to accept it, and you trying to get him to accept something that's not reasonable, and then you saying it and it's making it hard? Or are you saying that Terence Crawford is making up stories? He's lying when he says that he's accepting a 35-65 split in favor of Errol Spence. He's accepting everything that Errol Spence is asking for and you guys are asking for. So he's not telling the truth. So then tell the public he's not telling the truth. If he's a public statement deserves a public response. If Terence Crawford came out and he said that he's accepted everything, and then you guys are saying, well, that's not true, then publicly say that's not true. He's not telling the truth. Because how he's already saying things that are clearly is going to make it hard to come to fruition, right? Come on. Come on. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Roll. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for you. Peace.